Because this is the Options Happy Hour. I'm Don Kaufman. You are watching what we're going to do tonight. Well, Crash Course in the Greeks. No, not those Greeks, the option Greeks. So a little bit of a crash course in Greeks, and to do all four Greeks in about 45 to 50 minutes. Ooh, this is going to be interesting. We are going to be flying through this. But in the future, just note that we will spend very long periods of time in some of the coaching sessions in Delta and Gamma and Theta. And we've done that in, if you look all the way back to coaching sessions from back to February, we have discussed a little bit about the Greeks. And of course, we did a sell premium and manage risk class also back in February. We covered that in quite some detail, but it's been a very long time since I've covered the Greeks. So let's go ahead and get started this evening because without further ado, we got to get into it. 45 to 50 minutes we should be tonight. Again, starting right on time over here. You are watching the Options Happy Hour here at TheoTrade. All right, so first and foremost, I know just see this wonderful PowerPoint slide over here. Why the Greeks? Why is it really so important to have some understanding of the Greeks? And for that, let's go over to the trading application. Now, it doesn't matter what trading application you happen to have. I don't care whether you got Interactive Brokers, you're with Chucky Schwab, whether you're on TD Ameritrade's Thinkorswim, doesn't matter. If you're on a trading application and you are using options of any way, shape, or form, you need to have some degree and some access to the Greeks. So before I really get into depth about the Greeks, let's get specific of what is this and why might you even need Greeks, okay? First and foremost, the Greeks, all right, are equations, mathematical formulas that help you interpret what an option is likely to do on a theoretical basis, what it's likely to do with, as time goes forward, as the underlying goes up. Like here's Costco. Can Costco go up or down? Of course. Well, that's going to impact options. Okay. Does time move forward? Yes, it does. Well, that's going to impact options. Right? Is volatility going to change? Yes. Well, that's going to impact your options. And with the Greeks, what they do is actually describe, all right, what those movements are going to be, dollar for dollar, pound for pound. So why might that be important? Well, you can use the Greeks for a number of reasons, but right up front, I want to tell you, there are certain areas where you don't need Greeks. And I know, listen, many of you that join us here at TheoTrade, I'm not picking on you, but many of you that join us, you might be engineers, what I would call the mathematically inclined individuals, and, the Greeks just do it for you. But then that's fine. It's good to know when the Greeks matter and when they don't matter. And I'm going to give you an idea right here, right now. And let's move into it. So I go to the monitor tab and I open a position like on Bank of America, okay? Or better yet, I open up a position on something like the VIX. Now, here is just an in-out spread. That's it. It's an in-out spread, right? Happen to buy a call, sold a call, yada, yada, yada. The Greeks, there's 34 deltas. Okay, and what the Greeks really are, it's delta, it's gamma, it's theta, it's vega. But for all intents and purpose, this is where I want to start the conversation. In this position here, the Greeks don't really matter. Why don't they matter? First of all, if you're setting up the trades correctly, and you've followed much of your criteria for like an in-out spread, one of the reasons that we talk about in-out spreads is because the in-out spread negates most of the Greek risk. A very negligible Greek risk will be assumed if you do an in-out spread. So there are a lot of different option strategies. Like, what does it matter? Like, it's a delta, it's a gamma, it's a theta, it's a vega. But what does it matter? In the end, this is a bullish VIX trade. I want the underlying to go where? Up. Well, that's it. You don't have to worry too much about what's my vega. Oh, my vega hurts right now. You don't have to worry about that stuff when you are using in-out spread. Or let me give you another example here. You could be doing something like iron condor. Huh? Has anybody here ever done an iron condor? Come on. We're going to make this an interactive session, so jump in here any point. No? It's dead silence over here. Dead silence. All 200 and something of you that are tuning in tonight, it's quiet. if you've ever done something like an iron condor, though, and I'll go a little further out in time over here, we haven't been doing too many irons. Why? Because the volatility has been terrible. But, yeah, so you go out and do an iron condor, and, what is an iron condor? Well, I don't know. You go out here and sell one of these little monkeys, right? And then you turn around and, buy one of these little monkeys, $10 wide, and, go out here and sell a couple of these, and then turn around and buy a couple of these, and you know what? You got yourself an iron condor. Go over here to analyze the trade. I am analyzing the trade now. Hide all my positions, and ladies and gentlemen, we got ourselves an iron condor. Now, in the end, let me zoom this thing out. In the end, people they just focus the risk graph, but the Greeks, they don't really matter. People think the Greeks really matter on an iron condor, but yeah, when you got one iron condor and you're just managing that one trade, it's when Greeks really don't matter. Because in the end, what do you want? Well, I'll tell you exactly what you want. Okay? You want us between here and here. Because if we move out here or here, you're a loser. That's it. So why worry about the Greeks? All right? And why do people have to really know the Greeks? Okay. To really start to get into the Greeks, it's beyond just using one strategy, right? So it really, when I say beyond one strategy, I'm short shares of Microsoft. Okay. I'm in some IWM in-out spread. Okay. So I can monitor the in-out spread autonomously, right? My Microsoft trade, yeah, whatever. He's short 700 shares of Microsoft. It's not going well in Microsoft right now. So when would the Greeks might matter? Well, let me give you an example. Again, this Costco position. In my Costco position, I happen to be short 1,000 shares of Costco. But then I sold a put here, and I sold a put here, and I sold a couple of puts here. And when you start trading options against stock, or if you start trading options and multiple options against other options, ruh-roh, that's when the Greeks are going to start to matter. Because you got to know where you stand in the world. So with that, again, when do Greeks really matter? When you stop trading an individual strategy. If you're just doing in-out spreads, okay, the Greeks do not matter on the individual in-out spreads. But it's still, down the road, going to be imperative for you to understand the Greeks. Because eventually, you will put on a multitude of in-out spreads. And that multitude of in-out spreads, and that's you'll have one on Caterpillar like I do, and you'll have one on Bank, and you'll have one on VIX, and you'll have one on IWM, and before you know it,